Oh, well, that was way better than I expected it to be. I want to start off by saying I know I raged a lot, said some stuff out primarily out of rage, but I wanted to be let known now that I didn't hate this game, not one bit. A lot of the anger just came from rage. It's gamer rage. Everyone has it. Um, but the last time I played this game was release date in 2015. I didn't like it then, but replaying the main Arkham trilogy, Asylum City at night, I found a new love for all the games, and my rankings have changed. Origins, of course, is still number one for me, but after replaying Night, I gotta say Night has to be my second favorite game in the franchise. Uh, then City's third, Asylum's last. This game was phenomenal from beginning to end. Uh, Story was top tier. I paid way more attention to the story this time around. Paid attention to the dialogue. Everything about this game, well, not everything, but most things about this game, the gameplay, combat, stealth, the story, the way characters were written, the character arcs for
And so I'm home in the asylum.
uh but yeah, each the character arcs each character had was phenomenal. Um I really loved what the way they interpreted each side mission, the most wanted missions, the season of infamy. Um some of my favorite side missions being the Cobblepot side quest line, the Cobblepot quest line, the League of Assassins quest line, basically the whole of season infamy as a whole. Um, but main game, I really enjoyed the Cobblepot quest line with Dick. I loved interacting with Dick, the way they interacted. I do wish we would have gotten to see more of Dick Grayson in the Arkham franchise, because they definitely could have incorporated him into City, because City would have affected the whole world, just like the militia would have. I love Robin's character growth as you know as he's becoming more of his own person, kind of like Dick Grayson did. But he also stuck by Bruce, despite what Bruce did. Locking him in a cell, his choices. I love the way they wrote Barbara Gordon in this game. She didn't come off as a Nancy like she did in City. I do wish we got to see more of the dynamic between Bruce and Selena. Would have got to see their romance flourish a little more. And I do really like how they incorporated Alfred in this game. It seems like they look. It seems like Rocksteady looked at what Origins did with Alfred and adapted it into Arkham Knight, which is something I really appreciated, because Arkham Origins is my favorite game of all time, hands down. The way they wrote characters in that game, way they wrote Bruce, Gordon, Alfred in Origins, and this game especially. I do want to note, however, I am not completely I'm not a big fan of the Batmobile, but I'm a bigger fan of the Batmobile now than I was then, because I don't want to say I fully learned how to control it, but I have a better knowledge of how to control it. Um, but yeah, again, a lot of my rage did stem from the trophies. The trophies, in my opinion, could have been a lot better. The AR, that's fine. The AR challenge one, that's fine. But for me personally, I probably wouldn't have added the. I probably would have swapped out both. The run through the jungle trophy where you have to glide under 3 bridges in one glide, or I would have allowed the use of the grapnel boost just to make it a little easier on the players. But since they didn't do that, I really think they should have just removed that trophy entirely. The leap of faith should have been a dive bomb related trophy, not a Batmobile related trophy. And that trophy is glitched to all hell. Um, my shit kept going down to 0%. That's why it wasn't registering after 8. Thank God I found this one guy. His video will be linked in the comment section and the top link in the description of this review video. I'm recording this as I'm live right now. It's just easier to do it that way, 2-in-1. But some of the characters I do wish we got to see was, would be like, Kite Man, Condiment King. I wish we would have gotten to see, some Bossman, uh, you know, appearances here and there. I wish they would have handled, Hush a lot better than they did. They, uh, um, Rocksteady in City and Night, they really, really did not do, Hush well. They handled his character so poorly, in my opinion. He's such a great character. In my opinion, after replaying this and all the games, I wouldn't have even added Hush into City. I would have had if you guys watched Batman Hush, that animated movie, it's revealed that Hush is actually Riddler. That's something I probably would have preferred in this game if because you completely embarrassed Riddler in City. So him having a complete mental breakdown and becoming Hush would have in this game, alongside the pig quest line would have been really phenomenal instead of, doing another fucking damn near 250 Riddler trophies. But, they still could have, had the, thing where he kidnapped Catwoman and Batman had to rescue her. But I really think it would have benefited if they just didn't do Hush at all. But, did what I said instead of, like, making Riddler in this game be Hush instead of, Thomas Elliot. Because I'm not a fan of the way they wrote Thomas Elliot in these games. Because Hush is a phenomenal character, and they did him no justice. But like I was saying, I wish we could have gotten more of a comic related villains that we never got to really see. As I said, um, Condiment King, Kite Man. I really, or, Peacemaker, Bloodshot. They also could have added Deadshot again. Um, because Deadshot, because in City it kind of left off like you're gonna run into Deadshot in the next game. This, the next thing being this, because Rocksteady had nothing to do with Origins, and it just never happened. The Firefly questline was good, although really, the Origins boss fight with Firefly was just 200 times better. Same with the Deathstroke, aka Slade Wilson fight. they could have kept Slade in this game and did what they did, but instead of they could have done like a two-part boss fight, do the tank and then automatically go into a hand-to-hand type fight, like they did in Origins. And I am not a fan of the fact they took away the Sonic battering. And I was watching I'm the Batman stream. Shout out to you if you're in the stream. And he was talking about how the line launcher wasn't really used in this game, and I do agree to a massive T that the line launcher could have been incorporated a lot more in this game. Uh, but it wasn't. You don't really you don't even need to use it outside of one mission in the main campaign and one mission in the um season infamy, notably being the League of Assassins quest. I call them quest lines because it's easier because that's what they are. The quest lines, and I'm an RPG player, so I call them quest lines. Um, Nightwing. Going back to him, as I said, I wish we got to see more of Dick in these games. Especially City and Arkham Knight, because I feel like we didn't get to see enough of Dick Grayson in these games. And that's why I'm holding out hope. We either, we get a Nightwing game and then we get a, Batman Beyond game, but instead of, being Bruce Wayne, Dick Grayson could take him under his his mantle and, train him to be the next Batman. But, because in my opinion, Terry McGinnis gives off, Dick Grayson vibes. I don't know if that's just me, but, or, even Tim Drake, because in the comics, like I was talking about A Brave New World, Tim Drake is the Batman Beyond. Because Terry McGinnis went back in time because he couldn't beat Brother Eye, so Tim Drake went back to the future instead of Terry McGinnis because Terry McGinnis was really injured. So they could have done something like that where where Tim Drake trains. They could do something like that, honestly, where either Dick Grayson or Tim Drake trains Terry McGinnis and has Terry McGinnis, be the Batman Beyond of the Arkhamverse. But honestly, it's highly unlikely that they'll do that. Mainly because out of respect for Kevin Conroy, but I do feel like Kevin Conroy would want the Arkhamverse to continue going to for a new person to make a new legacy for for a voice acted Batman. And I feel like Jensen Ackles, aka Dean Winchester, aka Lana's ex in Smallville. Can't remember the character's name that he played in Smallville, but Jensen Ackles shows a lot of promise as Batman, as a voiceover Batman, and I do really feel like that they should have asked Jensen Ackles if he wanted to do the role for Knight for Jason Todd, because I don't know if you guys saw it. Batman Under the Red Hood, phenomenal movie. Jensen did a phenomenal job as Jason Todd slash Red Hood, and Under the Red Hood animated movie. I highly suggest watching it. I'm a animated movie nerd, comic nerd. Forgive me, but yeah, replaying this game, I found a newfound love for it. It's definitely not as bad as I remember it being. The main story is definitely, probably, if I'm breaking the game story wise, it's probably gonna be Origins, Night City, Asylum. But if I'm looking at it as a whole, it's Origin City, Night, Asylum. But yeah, this game was definitely not as bad as I remember it being. And again, a lot of the rage, a lot of, me saying, oh, this game is shit, this game is this and that came from, my rage. It's gamer rage. You say stuff out of frustration. And a lot of that frustration didn't even stem from the game itself, it stemmed from the trophies. But, but the Riddler race AR challenges, though, that was me being generally frustrated with the fucking game. But I do want to thank everyone for coming out to these streams. I'm not done playing this game yet. I'm going for the platinum, and honestly, I'm gonna go for all the trophies in this game. I'm slowly doing it for City, but I'm 100%. I 100% want to do it for this game. This game has gone so high up on my like honestly replaying this game now and beating it. It's in my top 5 of all time games. My top 5 Origins, the Uncharted game, so that's 4, and then Night, and then Skyrim's bottom 5, top 10. Wait, hold on. It's Origins, Murdered Soul Suspect, and then the Uncharted games. Well, Uncharted 2, 3, Night. So Night's number 5, top 5. Because I'm not a fan of Uncharted 1. Honestly, I'm not. And for those who are wondering, whereas the Assassin's Creed games rank in my top 10s, they don't, not anymore. They're more like top 20 now. Just, over the years of, just being unhappy with Ubisoft's product and how they've handled Assassin's Creed. Um, it's definitely gone, the games, the whole franchise for Assassin's Creed has gone way down. If I would have to, rank games, it'd be Arkham Origins number 1, Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, Arkham Knight, Murdered Soul Suspect, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed Revelations, um, Unity, Rogue, and then Assassin's Creed Origins. And I know I'm gonna get crucified. Assassin's Creed 2 is not in my top 10. It's not even my top 20. Let's be, if I'm being honest, it's not in my top 20. It's like bottom fucking 100 for me. Um, and I've platinumed a lot of games this year. I think, this is gonna be my 10th platinum this year. And that's, crazy, because I platinum Ghost of Tsushima, I platinum Vampire, and I platinumed God of War, all within the span of like a month. And then, I got the Asylum platinum trophy. I got the Spider-Man platinum trophy. 2018 Spider-Man platinum trophy. Um, fuck. I plat Skyrim too. So hold on. Let me actually fact check myself. Oh yeah, I got City, Skyrim, 2018 Spider-Man. Yeah, City, Skyrim, 2018 Spider-Man, Asylum, Vampire, Ghost of Tsushima, God of War. So that's about 6 platinums so far. I thought it was more than that. Yeah, I thought it was more than that for some reason. So, just fact check myself. We have 6 platinums this year so far. And for this game to be so high up on my, you know, all-time listings for games after, complete, platinuming 6 games before this. We still haven't got the platinum for this, but we'll get it like literally this week, I think. Um, and I didn't get the platinum yet. And for me to already say this is like top 5 all time for all time games for me is a really high praise from me. And yeah, I can't repeat it enough. They did a phenomenal job with this story in this game. The way they wrote characters. Um, I already, I told you what I thought. I told you guys what I thought about how they handled the quest lines and what I think they should have done in terms of quest lines, in terms of characters and trophies. This is honestly gonna be oh, this is probably my second most frustrating platinum I've gotten. The last platinum that's made me rage this, well, third. The two other games have made me rage this hard. You know, playing, going for the platinum. First being Assassin's Creed Mirage because that game's fucking horrible. That's my Odyssey. Um, because they really didn't bother making the combat good because they chose to punish you because they chose to go like the Dark Souls route where they made combat really hard. And if you got seen, combat would punish you. But sometimes you have to do combat in that game. But yeah, this would be top three most difficult platinums I've gotten just because of some of the trophies. A lot of these trophies were honestly really easy and are easy. Like I know the Brutality 101 is gonna be quite easy, Do that 1 AR challenge between Dick and Bruce. Boom, you're done. The Vicky Vale Show Tower building. And some of the other, difficult trophies, the um it would have to be the one where you had to get 5 critical shots using the Vulcan gun in a row without getting hit. Had to be, and it has to be, first shot. If you miss, you basically back at score one. So, that trophy, the Leap of Faith trophy, just because of how bugged it was. And I want to say the 69 stars, AR stars, even though it wasn't difficult. Um, but the most two notably rage infuriating trophies in this game, the Leap of Faith and the Vulcan gun. And those Riddler races should not have been AR challenges, in my opinion. And again, uh, and for those, I feel like they gave you too short of a time to do it. Like, if it would have been like, a minute 15 or a minute 30, it definitely, would have been manageable for me. And I do feel like it kind of failed with the Batmobile, in my opinion. They definitely forced it down your throat way too much in Night. A lot more than it should have been, especially with the Riddler bullshit. The races I understand, but you shouldn't have needed it for as many Riddler trophies as you needed it for. And I do appreciate that they changed it up in this game with the Riddler stuff. The bombed henchmen you have to save. I really enjoyed those. I really wish there was more of those. Um, and I honestly, I do wish we, thinking about it, I wish we got to see Kate Kane, Batwoman, because she definitely would have been someone to help Bruce during all this, despite him not wanting it. Kind of like how Dick did. Dick didn't listen. He helped anyways. And with the way this game left off, with the Robin and Oracle front, the Nightwing front, the Red Hood front, I definitely see future games. One strictly being Red Hood, one strictly being Nightwing, and one strictly being Oracle and Robin. Um, but that's also why I kind of consider this game, well, consider Gotham Knights being the spiritual successor to the Arkham franchise, because it's kind of the same sense. Arkham Knight, not Arkham Knight, Gotham Knight opens up with a phenomenal fucking cinematic fight between Ra's al Ghul and Batman. But yeah, and Gotham Knights has just reminded me. I did not like Gotham City in this game. I think that's a lot of where my annoyance came from with a lot of the trophies. Not Riddler trophies, but actual trophies came from because you couldn't really maneuver in Gotham with the Batmobile well enough because everything was so like tight and compact. Each road it was like very narrow, and for a lot of the remote mines kind of showcased on how like narrow some of the roads are. But this game is definitely not as bad as I once thought. It's definitely a phenomenal 9 out of 8.5 out of 10. And as I said, it's actually in my top 5 of all time games I've ever played now. Um, but yeah, I want to thank everyone for sticking with me on this journey. Despite all my rage. I want to thank everyone for the recent support. My channel's blown up recently. Thank you for all the new subs. Thank you for all the likes. And I do want to give a shout out to I Am the Bat. Um, his community has been a big reason as why my channel's blown up. Neon Angel, Michael Wazowski, being some of them that came over from I'm the Bat's channel and Discord. So again, thank you. I'm the Bat. His community honestly gave me a newfound passion for content creation and streaming as a whole. But man, I can't say it enough. They and I'm also gonna say it. I'm still on the fence about them having Joker be the actual big bad of Arkham Knight, because him being in the game kind of overlooked Scarecrow's whole menacing plan, and I think I'm the Bat's name is Anthony, but I'm gonna call him Bats for short. I was in his stream the other night actually, and he mentioned how they should have wrote the whole Arkham Knight / Red Hood character better, and I do agree. That's something I've always felt they handled really poorly. Um, or they could have gone the route, Arkham Knight could have been the actual big bad of the game instead of Scarecrow. You know, you could have taken down Scarecrow before Knight, because in my opinion, people would have followed the militia would have followed Arkham Knight way more than they would have followed Scarecrow. But they just never really. I don't think Rocksteady knew how to handle Jason Todd's character. Because in this game, you find out he was locked in the abandoned wing of Arkham during the events of Arkham Asylum. But yet, he was never mentioned. So I feel like this was that Jason Todd being in this game was kind of a last minute thing. That's why his character was written so poorly in this game. I feel like it was a last minute thing. But yeah, his character definitely should have been written a lot more. They should have definitely should have fo- uh fo- focused, I guess is the word, a lot more on Jason Todd's character, because the whole name it's called Arkham Knight, and and all the trailers were Arkham Knight, Arkham Knight, Arkham Knight, working with Scarecrow, but instead they had a very niche, I guess you can call it unmasking that Arkham Knight was Jason Todd. But even my first time playing this in 2015, I'm like, that's Jason Todd. Like, who else knows this much about Batman but hates him just as much? Jason Todd. Again, I'm a comic reader and a massive anime movie nerd, so forgive me. Um, but like I said, I definitely wish we could have gotten to see more of comic villains like Bloodsport, Peacemaker. Well, Peacemaker is an anti-hero, but he'd still be someone Batman would bring down. And I do feel like if they do go ahead and make I do feel like they should make off spin-off games, because in my opinion Kevin Conroy would want that. I don't think he would want them to stop making these games because of his passing. It's not something he would, I don't think it's something he would want. But as I said, if they do, make more games and based in the Arkhamverse, they don't necessarily need a Batman, because like the Batman Beyond game I was talking about, they could either have Tim Drake train him or Dick Grayson train him. Well, Tim Drake slash Oracle train him, because they're an item, or have Nightwing train him. Because I really think that, because like if you pay attention to the Batman Beyond comics or the Batman Beyond cartoon, Gotham needs a Batman. They need one, because in that animated Batman Beyond cartoon that came out, I think it was like, oh god, 2000, or like 1999, somewhere around there. Bruce stepped back because he was getting old, heart attack. He killed someone, and he swore he'd never pick up the mask again. But in doing so, crime got rampant, like really rampant in Gotham. And that's what led to the death of Terry McGinnis' father. And in the cartoon, Amanda Waller spiked his, put Bruce's seed in. It was weird. It's not comic. It's not canon because it's not it's not in the source material. It's only in the cartoon. But my point stands. At I'm gonna give this game an official rating of, like, as I said, 8.5 out of 10. It's not as bad as I once thought. I'm still not completely sold on the Batmobile, but it's nowhere as bad as I once thought it was. Because I once thought this game as a whole was dog shit, but it's not. It's actually a really phenomenal game when you actually pay attention to the cutscenes, pay attention to the dialogue, pay attention to the story. And as someone who reviews games now, I started reviewing games, like, I don't know, a few years ago. And well, I started looking at it with a review mindset a few years ago. And honestly, I'm gonna start actually making review videos like this one. Probably gonna do another type video after I beat Arkham Knight on New Game Plus, because I'll probably have a better understanding of the game then. But beating it now, it's definitely not as bad as I used to think. It's a phenomenal game. Phenomenal. Fucking amazing. 8.5 out of 10. But something I'll never be able to agree with anyone is the Batmobile being a good addition. Transversal wise, amazing. Combat, the battle mode was okay, but there was just way too much involving the Batmobile. Like, in my opinion, the whole remote mine quest line shouldn't, we could have, could have been fine without it. Um, Keep the ATP quest line because that's just driving, chasing, shooting your missile. That was fine, but I also did not appreciate the Riddler races that and all the Riddler trophies needing the Batmobile. Well, not all of them, but a good portion. I want to say about 113 trophies needed the Batmobile. Probably way less than that. It was probably like 50. But it the whole point of like Nigma, the whole point of his character, if you actually pay attention, if you read the comics like I do, if you pay attention to the cartoons, and especially the Batman cartoon in 2004, not the OG one, the one that came after, with the slim design and the red Bane and the Batman versus Dracula movie. Um, God, I lost my train of thought. God, what the fuck was I saying? I know I was saying something along the lines of the Batman. God, I actually don't remember what the fuck I was saying. Oh my god, I've never had this massive of a fucking brain fart before. Oh my god. Oh yeah, Nigma. That's right. Like the whole point of Nigma. Like I said, if you watch a 2005 Batman, 2004, 2005, and remember what date it started, it was basically spectacular Spider-Man, but Batman. That's how I look at it. Because it didn't have Kevin Conroy voice Batman or Bruce, but I still think the Batman 2005 2004 cartoon was a phenomenal cartoon. But I was saying the whole point of Enigma is to challenge your brain. Challenge your brain to put you through mental puzzles. And in my opinion, the Batmobile related Riddler puzzles and the Riddler races, they didn't need to be a thing because that doesn't make you think mentally. It makes it's based on reaction and how fast you can mash buttons, and that's not really what I want from like an Enigma quest line. That's why I enjoy the Enigma puzzles in Asylum, Origins, and City a lot more because they challenge your brain and not your reflexes. Well, button mashing. Some of them, did of course, but like I said, like the Enigma races didn't need to be a thing. The Enigma puzzles involving a Batmobile didn't need to be a thing, and we could have survived without it. And I definitely feel like we should have gotten a lot more of Lucius Fox in the game as well. Like, sure, we saw him, but we didn't really see him, if you know what I mean. We go there like 3 times, like 3, 4 times, and we only ever communicate with him twice, face to face. I don't. I I'm still not a fan of the whole FaceTime thing. Just it was. I'd rather just the hand on the ear. But that comes down to personal opinion with the FaceTiming thing. I will never be a fan of the whole FaceTiming thing. It doesn't it doesn't do it for me. And you also got to see the Arkham Knight way too soon in this game. Like literally, not even the first hour, like the first 20 minutes. Boom, Arkham Knight. We know what you look like. We know what you sound like. In my opinion, I would have held off, showing the Arkham Knight until you're tracking him in the tunnels. That would have been a good spot, or him showing himself after you get so many of the checkpoints done, the towers done, the APC is done. No, he would have showed himself then. Um, it would have been a lot more of a. It just would have been a little better than what they did, but it still would have been great. It still would have been mediocre, but it would have been better than what we got. Again, I really do wish they would have just asked Jensen Ackles to voice Jason Todd slash Red Hood. Um, because this Red Hood gives me the Titans Jason Todd vibes. If you've seen that show, you know what the fuck I mean. That whole show was fucking dog shit. They made fucking Starfire into a black hooker. No offense, but that's literally what they turned her into. Guaranteed that Starfire was. She's not white. She's an alien, so any race. But in Titans, they really made her dressed like a hooker, which is one of the massive issues I have with that show. And the other massive issues I have with the Titans is how they handle Jason Todd in that too, because it's like some episodes he was doing really well, but they just decided to switch him all the way to Red Hood way too fast. And Titans, but that's not related to this game. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. But I think I've been fucking. This is gonna be a long review video, but what can I say? I'm a rambler. I talk. But yeah, it's definitely not as bad as I once thought it was. It's definitely an 8.5 game. 100%. Still, but like I said, I'm still not completely sold on the Batmobile. There's just this is just a bit much for my liking. Some people love it more to you. Have at it. But me, I could have lived without it. And playing this game honestly really wants me to, you know, buy Gotham Knights on Steam because I, plan on just buying games on Steam for now on because I have a really good laptop. Anyways, but I watched the completion of Gotham Knights on God, I think it was the Arkham video channel, and it's about 11, 12 hours game. Combat, combat's there, stealth is there, but they nailed Gotham City. And the storylines in that game are phenomenal. And I don't know if you guys noticed it in that game, but I did. They had like many storylines involving different villains, throughout the entirety of like the whole Court of Owls storyline. And the and I do like how you can pick and choose who you play as throughout the game and pick and choose what ending you get. Um but one of my biggest gripes with that is I originally wanted to get that on Xbox so I could play with my friend. I don't even know if I could call him a friend anymore. I don't think he considers me a friend. Cool dude slash Brandon. Um, but I've told him. I've apologized to him like 1,000 times. Um, But yeah, I originally wanted to get on an Xbox to play with him. Play the story through the story with him, because that was that was the whole thing. Gotham Knights, play along the whole story with your friend. That's what the original gameplay trailer gave the interpretation of. But in the end, you can go through the whole game without even running into your friend. Like, then why have a co-op aspect? Anyways, 49 minutes. I'm done rambling. I promise. This is gonna be a long review video. But again, I want to thank everyone for the massive support on the channel recently. Um, and I want to thank all the new subscribers, and I want to thank whoever comes from I have the Bats Discord or his channel comes checks me out. I appreciate it. Again, his community is kind of why I kind of got a second gear into this whole streaming shit. Um, because I am no longer focusing on all the numbers that I have, subscriber wise. I'm no longer focusing on all the inactive numbers, but I'm focusing on the active numbers, if you get what I mean. But like I said, I want thank everyone for sticking with me through this ride, through all my raging. But as I said, we're nowhere done Arkham Knight yet. We still gotta get the platinum. We still gotta get the get the platinum, beat New Game Plus. But as I said, I haven't even beat New Game Plus yet, and I'm already 100% in that mindset. I want to get all the trophies. Arkham City, it took me a few days, a week or so to, you know, I still haven't been Robin's, Riddler maps yet, but I'm doing those slowly. But this game, I'm 100% getting all the trophies. I want it. I want them. I want them. I want them. And that's because how good this game actually is. And I think it's because in 20 God, what is this year? I'm 22. So what yeah, I think I take my age. No, I'm 23 actually. So 23 minus 2025. No, minus 2015. Oh, no, hold on. Okay. Hold on. This year is 20 it's 2025, correct? Yeah, it's 2025. This game came out in 2015. I'm 90% sure. Cuz I want to give y'all like my perspective on why this game is so good to me now, and I think I know why. When did Arkham Knight come out? June 23rd, 2015. It's almost been a decade since this game came out. In about a month, it'll be a decade. And 10 years ago, I was 13. Oh, that's his mouth, right? Yeah, that's his mouth. So I think the whole reason I didn't really enjoy this game then was, partially due to just beating Origins before playing this, and the fact I was 13 and couldn't really comprehend the story. Like, I comprehend stories in video games now, and with the mindset I have now. So I think that was a big part of why I didn't like this game 10 years ago. But replaying it now, phenomenal, so good. And an 8.5 is a phenomenal for me. A 10 and 9.5 is great. Well, no, 8.5 great, 9.5 phenomenal. But yeah, it was a great game basically. And 10 out of 10 is amazing, no flaws. And the only game who has gone to 10 out of 10 goes to Tsushima. I love, the old Spider-Man games, but Ghost of Tsushima 10 out of 10. All day, every day. I'll never change my mind about that. But anyways, stay tuned, turn the notifications bell. If you're new to the channel, think about subscribing, hit that like button, share it with your friends, share it with everyone you know, subscribe to my other channels, um, and click that link in the comments in the chat because it's my brand new video. Yeah, I think it's actually the last part of last part of Miles Morales. I have one more part to post. That'll be tomorrow. But yeah, phenomenal game. Phenomenal. Way better than 10 years ago.